Hey everybody, Fallout here, and as I'm sure you probably heard already, a few days ago Bungie dropped a fairly thick TWAB, aka the This Week at Bungie, which previewed a bunch of weapon changes coming later next month. These weapon changes are kind of an end-of-season appetizer to the main course to come next season, i.e. the Witch Queen. Why am I hungry all of a sudden? Oh well. I figured now would be a good time to go over a personal list I put together of a couple weapons that you should try to get before the Witch Queen, or even potentially before the December update. Some weapons on the list will be made better by the upcoming weapon changes, and others are just really good weapons that you should definitely have. If they ain't getting nerfed in the December patch, odds are they're gonna remain awesome weapons going into Witch Queen, and it damn well wouldn't hurt to have them on your hip. But speaking of things that hang from your general hip area, why don't we give it up for the sponsor of today's video, Manscaped.
Manscaped.
Gentlemen, getting organized to take on the Witch Queen is hard, but shaving your junk doesn't have to be. Manscaped is the first and leading brand dedicated to men's below-the-waist grooming, and I've been proudly promoting their products on my channel for a long time. Their Perfect Package 4.0 grooming kit comes with tons of great stuff that you or any man in your life can use to clean up shop, including the beautiful Lawnmower 4.0 trimmer. Sleek, efficient, and even waterproof, so you can bring it into the shower. You should know that Manscaped just released a new in-shower solution specifically designed for men, the new Ultra Premium Body Wash. It's a daily shower gel scented with Manscaped refined cologne and features a luxurious lather for any skin type. It's smooth, luxurious, and smells more manly than True Vanguard and James Bond put together. Infused with aloe vera and sea salt, it gives the perfect balance of tough cleaning and soothing hydration. Keep your skin clean, fresh, and moisturized with Manscaped Ultra Premium Body Wash, and keep the hedges trimmed around the base of your tree trunk with the Lawnmower 4.0, a perfect gift for any guy in your life this holiday season. Head on over to manscaped.com and use promo code PLAYS20 for 20% off your order plus free shipping. Again, that is 20% off plus free shipping with promo code PLAYS20 at manscaped.com. Alrighty, back to the content. I'll give you the heads up that some weapons on today's list have rolls that are carved in stone, which will be a little easier for you to get, and others might be a little harder to get. Why don't we kick off the list with what might be the hardest weapon for you to get between now and either Witch Queen or the December weapon patch, the God Roll Dead Man's Tail. Oh, you heard me. Not just any old Dead Man's Tail. That ain't hard to get. What's hard to get is the God Roll. I know it's fairly common for people to butt heads together and argue about what roll on what weapon qualifies as a, quote, God roll. However, with the DMT, there is very little arguing among the community about one of the hands-down best weapon rolls in the game. That roll being high caliber rounds and Vorpal weapon. Why those two perks on the DMT? Well, high caliber rounds is good for giving more range, but more importantly, is notorious for flinching people harder in PvP. Vorpal weapon, on the other hand, is good for two reasons. PvP-wise, if you've ever been immediately ripped out of a roaming super by a DMT, there is an extremely high chance that the enemy Guardian had one fitted with Vorpal weapon. Vorpal DMT will slice and dice even the beefiest roaming supers in Crucible like a fried egg at Benny f***ing Hana. PvE-wise, we now know that Vorpal weapon is getting a burf in the upcoming weapon patch. That would be a half buff, half nerf. While power weapons are getting their damage output toned down via Vorpal weapon from 15% to 10, primary weapons like Dead Man's Tail are getting bumped up to an extra 20% damage with Vorpal. Icing on the frickin' cake, according to the TWAB, DMT is also getting buffed. Mother of God. The point of the buff is to allow the weapon to finally be kind of viable on controller. If you're a console player and don't know, DMT is pretty damn wild on mouse and keyboard, but only ho-hum on the sticks. However, with this change, Bungie mentions that the performance even on M&K will slightly improve along with the intended controller buff. TLDR, DMT is getting better all around in PvP, and it'll perform better with Vorpal in PvE. Here's the catch though, you're only able to get one, I repeat, one new Dead Man's Tail per week, not per character, per week via the Presage mission, meaning that as of tomorrow, the weekly reset of November 16th, you'll have exactly 14 more tries to get a Dead Man's Tail with Vorpal weapon until Witch Queen drops. Good luck with that, get started now, and if you have the God roll already, I'm very proud of you, and also I hate you. Next up, two different weapons I'm putting together in one category, the Darkest Before and the Grid Skipper pulse rifle. In the TWAB, Bungie mentioned that in the near future, they're going to change many weapons in the game to allow them to fire in full auto mode if you want them to. Even though it'll be unlocked on legendary hand cannons, sidearms, and scout rifles, the category I'm really the most interested in, the pulse rifle. Two pulse rifles I think that are really going to shine hard with the change are Grid Skipper and Darkest Before. Darkest Before in particular has the ability to roll full auto, and when you have that perk turned on, you can totally melt people at mid-range in PvP. Now that we're going to get the ability to fire them both in full auto mode automatically, that kind of frees you up to pick a different perk on your gun rather than needing to lean on full auto. Darkest Before can get Unrelenting, Elemental Capacitor, Rampage, or Wellspring. Meanwhile, Grid Skipper I'm really excited for because the gun does not have full auto right now at all. I always kind of thought it would benefit from that perk a ton, and now it's kind of getting it. Thresh or Adrenaline Junkie would be great, but I'm probably aiming for multi-kill clip on the Grid Skipper. Darkest Before can be farmed easier than you think. Check out my video on farming the Prophecy Dungeon boss in Season 15. You can kill that little jerk before they even get a chance to teleport one time. It's a very quick farm, and the Darkest Before can drop from the boss fight. Grid Skipper, on the other hand, much easier. Head on over to the helm, pop open the pre-re machine, and target the Splicer Vandal's Armory engram from Season of the Splicer. Be warned, it will require decrypted data. Trust me though, when we get that intrinsic full auto turned on, many guns will be better overall, but those two weapons in particular, I'm kinda looking forward to them the most. Next up, how about a straightforward PvE option, the Arbalist. If you're a veteran player, yeah, you probably already have the gun, but remember, we get new players out here every freaking day. Out of every weapon buff mentioned in the TWAB, I was kind of worried a lot when I saw the Arby pop up. God knows that weapon has terrorized PvP for long enough in the past, and to make matters worse, its big brother, the Lorentz driver, is still slapping people around with way too much aim assist and overall viability. However, giving the gun any kind of buff in PvE, that's totally fine by me, and Arbalist is scheduled to get anti-barrier in December, which is great. If you've seen any of my recent Grandmaster Nightfall videos, a lot of them feature me rocking the Arby. Even though it's a kinetic, it packs a damn big punch and can eat through any elemental shield, no matter what. It's kind of like Hardlight, but rather than needing to change to a specific element type manually, you just plow through the shield with brute force. But yeah, giving Arby anti-barrier is neat, and I think it'll continue to be really viable in any GM Nightfall, especially if it happens to feature barrier champions. Only problem is that Arby is not featured at the exotic kiosk at the tower. What, were you expecting they would make it easy for you? The only way to get Arbalist right now would be via an RNG world drop. A good way to try and go after it would be through Xur. His exotic engram apparently will prioritize weapon drops, especially if you don't have that weapon already. Another exotic world drop you might want to get from Xur if you don't have it already, Suros Regime, the next weapon that we're going to talk about. In December, Suros is getting a tweak to one of its firing modes, dual mode receiver, i.e. shoot slow, hit hard mode. While Bungie decided to not touch overall damage or affect time to kill, they are helping it another way by jacking up the range by 30 and giving it more zoom. That could either be a really minimal change, or Suros Regime could get way more annoying in December, bordering on becoming some kind of unholy, full auto, health regenning scout rifle. Time will tell, but for now, might try to get the gun if you don't have it already. If you do have the Suros Regime already, might want to try and work on getting the exotic catalyst complete. It won't improve your weapon stats, but it will make it more likely that you'll regen health on a kill. If you don't have the Suros catalyst, don't worry, it's RNG based, but apparently you can get a shot at it dropping each and every time you get a kill with the Suros in PvP. So go hop into control and start shooting people if you don't have that catalyst already. Alright, next up, two more weapons put together in one category. Get yourself a good PvP fusion rifle, either the main ingredient or an Adept Plug 1. If you were lucky enough to get the 5 out of 5 God Roll main ingredient from Xur a few weeks back, well, you're probably good to go already. I'm pretty keen on the main ingredient right now, but in December, both sidearms and fusion rifles are getting changed from projectile to hit scan weapons. Apparently that was a bug tied to in-game frame rate being 60 or over. If you don't know the difference between projectile and hit scan, projectiles are weapons that have travel time, think rocket or grenade launchers. Hit scan weapons, however, are weapons that connect instantly with no projectile travel time. Think hand cannons, scout rifles, and most other primary weapons that land shots right when you pull the trigger. With that change, fusion rifles are probably going to feel way better right away. while their projectile speed was already pretty quick, it don't get better than hit scan. At the moment, precision frame fusion rifles, IMO, are the best frame in the game. I say that with no shame. Unfortunately, main ingredient can be hard to come by. You'll probably only get one from Xur. Remember, by the way, that the Tuesday double Xur loot glitch does work. Check out my video on that as well if you haven't already, for an extra shot at more Xur loot each week. Otherwise, wait until the Adept Plug 1 shows up in the Grandmaster loot pool and get to farming. For the Plug 1, I would highly recommend you keep farming until you get one with under pressure or heating up, and then you'll probably be okay. Alright, we've gone over a couple of weapons that require a fair amount of RNG. There will be more of those, but for right now, how about a few weapons that you can just roll into the tower and grab with almost no problem at all? Did I say almost? Hey, don't worry about that for now. If you don't have them already, head over to the tower and pick up the following: Sleeper Simulant, Whisper of the Worm, Cryosthesia, and Point of the Stag. Let's go through each one. Sleeper Simulant in December is getting a big buff. Magazine size is shooting up from 3 to 4, meaning less time spent awkwardly reloading your big clunky handheld death ray. Also, linear fusion rifles in general are getting a 10% damage buff in PvE, with Sleeper getting a free extra 6% on top of that LFR buff. All in all, Sleeper's gonna be a pretty hot damage dealer in PvE in December, so if you don't have it for whatever reason, now would be a good time. Remember to also get the exotic catalyst on Sleeper if you don't have it already, because it is cracked on the Sleeper. Quicker weapon charge overall and deeper ammo reserves. It used to only be available during Spire of Stars as a random drop, but now in Season 15, you can get it from Nightfall Ordeal Strikes as a random drop. Yay for you! Whisper of the Worm is also getting pimped out in the PvE damage department. The delay on activating Whispered Breathing is dropping down from 2.1 to 1.2 seconds, and White Nail is changing as well. Instead of yoinking 3 bullets directly from your inventory, it's now going to pull 2 from your inventory and 1 magic bullet out of total thin air, meaning more bullets and more damage. On top of all of that, it's getting an extra 10% damage buff. Yippee! Here's the bad news though. Whisper of the Worm's catalyst, which is kind of really important for the gun, can't currently be obtained right now. I'm sure that is a problem Bungie will try to correct in the future, but for now, no dice. But whatever, go get the gun anyway. I'm sure you'll get the catalyst eventually. The Cryosthesia is a wonderful weird sidearm getting a big change pre-Witch Queen. At the moment, the weapon fires like Devil's Ruin, i.e. on the trigger being released rather than on a trigger pull. If you've ever fired the Devil's Ruin or Cryosthesia and noticed it felt different, but you couldn't quite explain why, that would be why. But wait, there's more. The magic charged shot, which will allow you to freeze people in PvP, that's being changed too. It's now going to act like kill clip, i.e. after you get a final blow with the Cryosthesia, you will reload, and now you have your magic freeze ray shot. When you fire that shot, no longer will your Cryosthesia have an empty mag like the way it works right now. Instead, after freezing people, the gun will go back to regular sidearm mode without losing any ammo, meaning in theory, the following could happen. You kill a guy in normal sidearm mode, you reload after the kill, and you load up your frozen charge shot. You use that charge shot to freeze a guy, and hey, now your sidearm is back to normal mode. So you kill that guy while frozen with the gun in normal mode, and hey, you got a kill. Now reload for another frozen shot. No word yet from Bungie if there's some kind of time limit on how frequently you can use the frozen shot, but at a glance, any really cracked sidearm player might be able to pop off with Cryosthesia, or at the very least, make a bunch of people really want to pull their hair out. And hey, that could be you, so go get the gun. Point of the Stag. Kind of an odd thing to mention, but even if there's one Guardian out there who totally forgot to pick up the arc bow at the tower kiosk, I will consider today's video a win. If you didn't know, Stag is a curated weapon with viable perks, kind of like the less popular little kid brother to Fellwinter's Lie. In December, not only are bows getting an extra 10% damage buff to rank and file enemies in PvE, aka red bars, but Stag also comes with Vorpal Weapon. And yeah, even though it's getting a nerf on power weapons, it's getting buffed on primary weapons, jumping from 15% to 20%. TLDR, primary weapon bows with Vorpal Weapon are going up in viability next month. Might as well make sure you have one of the best ones around if you don't already. Alright, next weapon, or weapons for that matter. You're gonna need a good legendary linear fusion rifle for boss damage in PvE. Two big contenders on the table, a Threaded Needle with Vorpal Weapon, or a Reed's Regret with Firing Line. This one is a little bit of give and take. In Witch Queen, Particle Deconstruction, the wildly popular aka broken armor mod, is going bye-bye. Even still, linear fusion rifles are getting that hot 10% damage buff across the board, so they'll still be worth using overall. Now you might be thinking, hey, maybe I shouldn't get a threaded needle with Vorpal Weapon because Vorpal Weapon is getting nerfed. Right now it does 15% extra damage, but in December it'll be knocked down to only 10% extra damage on power weapons. Well, temporary bad news. Right now, Focusing Lens is a really popular PvE perk for dealing wild damage from inside a Radiant Warlock well while an enemy is either slowed or frozen. Because Reed's Regret is a stasis linear fusion rifle and not arc, solar, or void, it cannot benefit from Focusing Lens because it only buffs light abilities. But Focusing Lens, like particle deconstruction, is going away in Witch Queen. So even though Reed can't rock Focusing Lens right now, it'll be the clear pick over Threaded Needle moving into February. Either way, there's no reason to not get a good Threaded Needle right now. As long as we have Focusing Lens, it's the weapon to rock over Reed. If you don't have a Vorpal Threaded Needle, don't worry about it. You can go to the helm and pick one up by focusing Umbral Engrams. Reed might be a little trickier to acquire. You gotta go into trials to get one. If that sounds like too much for you, just stick with the needle. Almost at the end. Like linear fusion rifles, another good PvE damage dealer, it wouldn't kill you to have a good damage dealing sniper rifle. What we're looking for is some kind of perk combination where you'll get refunded ammo or have a larger mag overall while putting out big damage. The classic combination is triple tap and Vorpal Weapon. If you've already got the adored sniper rifle and that's good enough for you, then you're good to go. But what you could do is play a buttload of PvP and try to get the exact same roll on the Frozen Orbit, which IMO is a tad sexier because it deals more damage per shot than the adored. A problem you might have is that Frozen Orbit has a gigantic frickin' perk pool with more options than anyone would ever need. You could get either triple tap Vorpal Weapon or triple tap high impact reserves. Both would be neato burrito. The Adept Izume RRF also has the potential to roll either triple tap Vorpal or triple tap high impact. Why use that over adored when they're both the exact same archetype? Great question, you handsome devil you. Two reasons. One, Izume can roll with mag perks in column 2, whereas adored cannot. And 2, Adept Izume also can be fitted with the Adept weapon perk Big Ones. Again, if you saw my video on PvE weapon perks, you'll know that Adept Big Ones is the one-size-fits-all perk that deals extra damage to every kind of major and ultra enemy in PvE. If you're one of the few people out there still running Deepstone Crypt, 1, why? And 2, you could try to hunt down a succession rifle, aggressive frame like the Frozen Orbit, meaning more damage per shot. That gun may not be able to roll triple tap, but it does get Vorpal Weapon and has access to Reconstruction, a perk that auto reloads your sniper over time up to double capacity. Personally, I would rank them Frozen Orbit 1, Izume 2, and Succession 3, but any of them would be great to have. Final weapons I'm putting together in one category, and the good news is that I don't really need to elaborate on them too much. All of these weapons aren't getting directly buffed from the December weapon patch, but that's a good thing because they're all godly weapons in PvP, and if it ain't broke, don't fix it. Palindrome, Messenger, Multimach, and Shayura's Wrath. All 4 of those weapons are being completely untouched by Bungie going into Witch Queen as far as we know, and all of them clap in PvP hard. The hardest 2 to acquire could probably be the Multimach and the Shayura. Shayura if you're not much of a Trials player because that game type can be difficult to some people, and Multimach because the Iron Banner loot RNG pool is straight pure dog shit. There's a bajillion guns in the loot pool, and half the time I turn in tokens, I get armor anyway. Messenger, though, is easy to get, even if you're not cracked at PvP, because unlike Shayura, I don't care if my Messenger is adept or not, meaning you don't gotta go flawless to get it. Reason being is that I'll always only equip it with regular counterbalance anyway, so GG. For Palindrome, I have a calendar that I put together of every upcoming GM Nightfall and weapon drop rotation. Mark your calendars, because on January 4th, we are getting Lake of Shadows and Palindrome. Yep, one of the easiest Nightfalls paired together with one of the best adept drops around. Good luck and happy farming that week. And there you go, a bunch of great weapons to make sure you got in your vault before the December weapon patch and before Witch Queen. If you've got any other weapon recommendations you think would be a damn fine addition to my list, feel free to share them down below in the comment section. Please like today's video if you could, helps me out a ton, and as always, don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.